Alright, well, here we are again. So, as the title suggests, Black Knight Satellite. So, I'm not gonna step out here and say that my theory is aliens. If we want to talk about aliens, I'll talk about that in another video. Just, I have a completely different view on that. But, as far as the satellite goes, for those of you who are saying, oh, satellite, yeah, see, they already called it a satellite. It transmits stuff. That's not what a satellite is. Okay? Look. Alright, look at that. A satellite is a moon. Go figure. A planet or a machine that orbits a planet or a star. For example, Earth is a satellite because it orbits the sun. Got it, guys? Got it? Get it? Got it? Good? Great. Okay. So, now that we've established what a satellite is, so I don't have any crazy people going, that's not what a satellite is. Black Knight satellite. Some people say it's alien, it's, extraterrestrial. Other people just say it's a floating rock, it's debris. NASA says it doesn't exist, and then when they say it does exist, it's just a space blanket or a thermal blanket they use in space that's just floating around. Which, oh god, so much BS with that. I'm just gonna say it like this: if the truth is that that's just a blanket, look, this is just me, and I'm not gonna say it's alien in nature, but well, anyway, this picture here, they're saying it's a thermal blanket, which is cool. That's great. Look, let's just say it is, for all intents and purposes. Let's just say it is a blanket. So if that's a blanket, NASA, listen, hear me out here. I live in America. You are in America. Y'all are probably more strict than the military. The military very rarely loses. Does it happen they lose stuff? Yeah. But how often do they lose stuff that is huge and has a significant purpose? So I was flying, and as a mechanic, I should have told the pilot. So yeah, guys, I was flying and just out of nowhere, my landing gear opened and then the wheel flew off. And so yeah, guys, I don't think I put that pilot's landing gear back together right. Happens, man. It happens all the time. All the time. Always. It happens. Sometimes we forget to put tail wings on. Sometimes the ejection, mechanism just doesn't work. Sometimes the whole top of the cockpit just flies off. It just happens. It's usual. Day-to-day things. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in the military, guys. That just does not happen. So with NASA, you're just going to tell me just debris just... Oh, well, look, there we go. We lost another booster tank. Just let it go fly away. Fly away. Okay, one, they would find a way to collect it. Two, they would find a way to prevent that from even happening. And three, they would have enough thought process to think, okay, we're moving through space at 10,000 miles an hour. If this flies off, we're dealing with the situation. So you would think from the get-go, with all the space debris that we have, wouldn't you think after you lost like one or two items 50 years ago, you would secure these things better? We're just like, yeah, we had a choice. Industrial grade machine screws, bolts, nuts, and fixtures, or was thinking, like maybe Ace Hardware in the budget bin. We were thinking that. That's not NASA. The budget may be pretty small and is relatively insignificant compared to the U.S. budget, but I mean, they're not just like, we're broke, so we're not going to care what we lose. No, they're like, no, we're broke and we can't afford to mess this stuff up because we can't clean it up. You know, you might be like, oh, well, they're rich, so they just let stuff float around, you know? Who's gonna stop them? Who's gonna stop them? Probably the entire country. Whenever they go, you know, the ISS just blew up because we decided to let a projectile fly around and speed up to about 24,000 miles an hour and just crash straight through that motherfucker. Yeah. No. I don't think there's plenty of space, but I don't think there's that much debris. And if it's debris, it's probably very small things, I would assume. But the whole space debris thing, that's an issue, NASA. Like, how did we even let that get this far? And you could say, hey, it's not easy being a rocket scientist. You know what? You're right. It's not. But I'm not just going to be like, okay, so it's going to get up here, and then it's going to separate. And then what happens to the boosters after that? Not worried about it. Whatever happens, happens. If it crashes, you know, over into the Capitol, I don't care. That's not what you're doing. You're making a conscious thought and a conscious choice. We're going to release these boosters. Release this tank. Aren't like 37 different nuts and bolts going to go flying out? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we planned on that. And they're going to become high-velocity projectiles that fly through space that can endanger the astronauts in our missions. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. We have insurance. No. No. If that's the way NASA's operating, I'm going to start looking at them as being as efficient as Walmart. So it's either one, NASA, you are highly inefficient, which is just mind-blowing, or there's a lot more going on that we're not being told. Am I saying that it's alien? No. Am I saying that it's classified? Probably so. Maybe for good reason. It's understandable. But you have a flying blanket. That's cool. Let's say it's a thermal blanket. Let's just say it's a thermal blanket. It came loose and you somehow lost it. You know, there's guys out here on radio towers and high lines that have 2-clip safety. You know, they clip one on, they clip another one on. As they clip the second one on, they clip one off. Clip it on, clip one off. So it's always attached. If a guy with a GED can do it, why can't an astronaut do it? So, you know, I had, you know, because we're smart about it, we're NASA, we had our 6-point tethering to ensure that it doesn't fly away. No, they just had 1-point tethering. Because, you know, nothing ever goes wrong in space. Never. Never ever goes wrong. Never. So, you know, they can do 1-point tethering. Because, you know, when you're moving 10,000 miles an hour in orbit, just accidentally let go of a blanket, it's not going to fly away or nothing, right? So if that's the case, like, how? Yeah, that's what you're not explaining. You're not explaining how. You're just saying, oh, it came loose. It's like saying, hey, yeah, JFK is dead. How'd he die? He's dead. Was he assassinated? Did he have a heart attack? He's dead. Just gonna tell the nation he's dead. Can we get the body? No. That's kind of how this whole blanket theory is going. Which, again, if it's a blanket, cool, it's a blanket. But, you know, let's get over here and look at these pictures. Like, you know, I'm not sure if any of these are, like, re-edited by artists. I've seen this one recently. It looks pretty cool. You know, Black Knight Satellite, the hodgepodge of alien conspiracy theories. Okay, so, I mean, this looks like maybe a new artist rendering. Oh yeah, look. An artist impression of the purported Black Knight Satellite. Okay, so this is even a real photo, and this is what a lot of people are looking at. And they're like, oh, it's true. Look, it's the satellite. They got the pictures. Like, no, guys, that's just an artist rendition. Again, I'm not trying to debunk anything here, and I'm not trying to push for anything here. I'm just let's figure this out. Let's ask some questions, because, you know, when you say one thing, it'll contradict something else. So if this is the artist's rendition, then it's going to contradict NASA. You know, but it's a rendition, or I guess their impression of it. So I guess this is it. This is all they have for the pictures, which they're old. They're nothing that's really gonna show anything. But then on top of that, who's to say that just NASA isn't just putting out these additional photos like, oh yeah, look, see, it's just a piece of junk. But here's my question. It's like, okay, there's the blanket. Yeah, and you have all this empty space. Where's all the other crap that's floating around? Where's it at? Okay, this is taken in 1998. There's nothing there. Literally nothing. Not even a speck of something else. With how much junk they say that's out there. So it's either they're saying there's a lot of junk and they're highly irresponsible and we just can't see the junk, or there is no junk and they are responsible, like I would assume they are, and that maybe this is a rare occurrence that junk flies out. Like this trash can here that's definitely photoshopped. But yeah, this is kind of like the only pictures that we have of this. Which, yeah, I can see that maybe being a blanket. This maybe being a blanket. But what I look at is, okay, this is still in the same shape as this. They're taken on different dates, but it's still in the same shape. So I want to kind of roll out the whole blanket theory. Personally, I don't think it's a blanket. Is it some weird spacecraft? I don't know. It's not a blanket. That's just me. It's like me putting a baggie in the water and it just sits there. And then I come back a month later and it's still in the same position. It's a little bit odd. So I'm going to roll out it's an actual bag. Is it aliens? It's like, no, it's just not a bag. That's not a blanket. And, well, you know, I get it. Like, you can kind of see it being a blanket. You know, like, okay, I guess this is good enough. Okay, so you can kind of see it. It's squared off enough to where, yeah, it could be a blanket. But to not move at all or wave at all or have any other junk around it at all every time it's sighted, it's a little weird. You know, I'm no expert. I don't got the stuff for this. But no, if that's NASA's excuse, you're going to have to give me a little bit more because secondly to this, people say that it's a spacecraft because it's emitting a signal, a radio signal, which from what I've found so far looking in here, Tesla's picked up those same signals and other scientists have picked up those same signals. When I say Tesla, I'm not talking about the car company, I'm talking about Nikola Tesla. So, you know, you gotta ask those questions. It's like, okay, wow, how old is Nikola Tesla? I mean, let's take Tesla's age and then let's take NASA's age and Let's take the photo. So, if just for the sake of the argument, if Tesla picked up a signal, Nikola Tesla picked up a signal, it was coming from some object, whichever that is. We're gonna assume this Black Knight satellite, because later on scientists picked up that same signal coming from said satellite. So we can assume that Nikola Tesla was viewing said same object. Then NASA saying that this is a blanket just doesn't work. Again, is it an alien craft? Maybe, maybe not, but it's not a blanket. It's not a thermal blanket. Or maybe there is a thermal blanket out there and there's another object out there and they're just making them try to seem similar, but they're not the same. So, other sources say that it's an artifact that's been floating around Earth that showed up over 13,000 years ago. It's cool. It's great. How do you know? Oh, because NASA told you? No. I mean, even if NASA did tell you, how do you know? You know, from the ground, many of us, we can pull out our own home hobbyists. You can pull out a telescope and we can look at certain things to, double check against NASA. If I'm the only person allowed in a room and I tell you there's a dog in the room and you're not allowed to go in the room, how do you know if I'm a liar? Why would I lie to you? Well, how do you know? So it's the same thing. I'm not going to say that they're lying to you, but it's you got to beg the question. Nobody can double check it. And the people that do spot it, they're like, yeah, this is definitely not a blanket. So if people are picking up these signals and seeing this, it's like, well, then what is it? And in my opinion, I know I've already drugged this past my 15-minute mark. I'm just going to run at 30 minutes because it's somewhat of a video. But you have to look at it like this, like, okay, well, let's just say NASA's completely wrong. Let's say that this object is here. Okay. Well, let's just go with the conspiracies. Let's say it is watching us. Why would it be watching us? I'll tell people this. Let's take NASA's whole theory out. Let's just agree with the conspiracy theorists. Let's just agree with them. Let's agree with them and then we'll question from there. So from NASA's standpoint, they already kind of just... It's far-fetched. If it's true, great, but y'all look bogus. Just saying. It's like being a guy who's got long hair, I guess a V-neck and his cap on backwards, and you're like, hey man, we found marijuana on you. And that guy was like, it's not mine. The cops are going to be a little bit hard pressed to be like, well, it might not, but the situation kind of, you know what I mean? So like it's in the same scenario. It's one of those situations where it's like, NASA, sounds good, but you look like, you sound like you're full of it. So we'll just agree with the conspiracy theorists. Hey man, yep, definitely a rock. It's up there, it's floating around, it's not a blanket. Nope, it doesn't belong to NASA. Yeah, it's shooting out signals, and yep, it's from aliens. Yep, you were right the whole time, man. The whole time. Yeah, see, we knew we were right. It's like, okay, now what? Well, nothing. Literally nothing. What are you going to do? How is it affecting you on your day-to-day life? It's not. So why do you care? Which, hey, again, let's agree with the conspiracy theorists. Maybe they're right. Well, we should care because maybe that's what the aliens want you to do. They want you to not care and not worry and just let them watch. Because they're watching for a reason. You know, they said, you know, I think I have it written down somewhere. I'll have to find it. It was for a story I was doing. And it was about us being alone. But that's a story for what the world is to me. That's another video. We're talking about this Black Knight satellite. But let's say it is aliens and they're watching us and they're watching our progression. It's like, okay, you can't stop them. You specifically can't stop them. What you gonna do? Tell the government, hey, you need to shoot that down. Great, shoot it down. Hell, we've been told they already did shoot it down. I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. If they did, that's even more of a reason. But, you know, if y'all want me to get more into this, you know, and my theories on it, I can. Because personally, I take in information, I look at it, I view it, and, you know, I throw it to the side. And people do that. And, you know, it's really smart thing to do is to take in all information, sift through it, and see what's actually reasonable. Me, I go a whole nother path. You were given road 1, and some people run with it. Some people are given road 1, 2, 3, and 4. They compare, contrast, and they pick one. Me, I'm just like, forget the roads. I'm building a new one. This don't make any sense to me. Personally, yeah. I think it's a satellite. I think it's real. I don't think it's a blanket. Because I look at it from the point of view as if I was another entity or in another position. Why would I want this satellite here? Me, from my personal view, I look at it like this. If you take humanity as a tiered hierarchy from the poorest and lowest beings all the way up, I can tell you right now, as a middle-class American, I have no clue if there is a group or organization known as the Illuminati or these crazy underground organizations. I don't know. You don't know. You barely know who the CEO of Sears is. You don't know who's in there, and if you do, who's under him and who's under him. If you can't even figure out who's in the local businesses that you as a consumer shop at, if you don't even know who's in there, then how do you know who's above or beneath you in society as a tiered economic group list or in the socioeconomic tier list? You know, you don't know. So let's go above that. Let's go into politics. The governing body. You don't even know who's all involved there. We can go even higher. Global societies and groups. You don't know who's there either. Just like you have zero connection or understanding of knowing who the poorest people are in the world, they don't even know you exist. You're like, oh yeah, people know that in America, yeah, we're rich. No, there's people out there that are so poor, they don't even know America exists. Yeah, be shocked. There's people that don't know America exists. We are fairy tales to them. Yeah, there's these people in this place, America. They're rich. They eat so much they get fat. They have everything they want. It's like a dream come true. It's just fairy tales. If you go far enough down, it doesn't exist. They just don't hear about it. They're so oppressed and put down, they'll never hear of that world known as America. And it would be the same in this case. So we could be so oppressed and put down as human society that we don't even know that there's something else out there that exists. And you could say, oh, well, that's because they're stopping us from knowing. It's like, no, they don't even have to try. They don't have to try to stop you. Just like I said, if you have the viewing capability to view the world, but you can't even see the poorest people, tell me now, without Googling on your phone, tell me who are the poorest people in the world. You can make a guess, you can make an assumption. Tell me who, where, and when in that group of society, who their names are and what they do for a living. Because you don't know. And if you don't know, then they definitely don't know who you are, or what you do, or if you're type of culture even exists. So it's the same way. There may be someone up there watching us. They're watching for a reason. But again, that'd be my view on the tier groups of human society and civilization. I feel like it goes up much further than what we see. But for the Black Knight satellite, if it is a viewing agent, it's strategically placed. It follows an orbit in which we cannot track. That is unnatural, which may be unnatural to our understanding, but if you look at quantum theory, it kind of makes sense. It can give itself an orbit that seems nonsensical, but it's very sensical. You know, and if it is emitting a message, it could be for any number of reasons. It could be encrypted, it might not be encrypted, we don't know. But if y'all want me to look more into this Black Knight satellite thing, I will. But personally, my personal view, I think it's a higher tier of humanity that's long gone. And they're watching us. They're watching us. We stayed behind. Or maybe they put us here. We don't know. But anyway, I've ran this video twice as long as I usually want to do any of these other videos. But if y'all want to look deeper into it, you know, just let me know and I will look deeper into it. So I'll be moving on to probably money after this, but I don't know. Hope everyone's doing good, and hopefully you got a little something out of this video. Maybe a little bit different way to think about it. But it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. Until next time, I'm out.